Listen, we all face some type of fear. And a lot of times, the fear that we think we are facing is the fear of failure. But the reality is, there's something else that we can be really nervous about. And that is the fear of success. And so, y'all, today's guest is about to be fire. I cannot wait for you to meet her. She's coming up, y'all. Welcome to Looking for My Fit.
I may not have everything you like, but I'm here to bring you light. Take a seat, join the ride. Elephant if it goes down tonight. We'll bring the party right to you. If you wanna laugh, hear good news. Bring your friends, family too. Looking for my fit is what I do. Looking for my fit, looking for my fit, yeah. Looking for my fit, looking for my fit, yeah. Looking for my fit, looking for my fit, yeah. Looking for my fit, looking for my fit, yeah.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Looking for My Fit podcast. More importantly, welcome to the very first live recording of the Looking for My Fit podcast. Wow! I am super excited about today. One, because it's the first, episode that I'm doing live in the Looking for My Fit community, and two, because I have the Yalonda Haywood on here today. And once you meet her, you're going to understand why I say I'm talking about T.H.E.E.E.E, Yalonda Haywood on here today. She is a business life coach. She is known as the Breakout Expert, and they don't call her that for nothing. She is the real deal. And she helps women to gain clarity and confidence in who they are so they can fully step into their calling. And so without further ado, please help me to welcome to the podcast, Yalonda Haywood.
Thank you. Woo! I feel like this is going to be fun.
You know what, Yalonda, before Yalonda and I got on here, went live, I told Yalonda, I said, I had to go and put some stuff on my edges because Yalonda snatches your edges. I don't know if y'all heard of edge snatching. Yalonda, she comes for you in a loving way. And so that's what I love. So before we get into anything, Yalonda, I want to talk about how we know each other.
Yeah.
So Yalonda and I met. Now, remember, if you've listened to several episodes of the podcast, and you know, I used to be a teacher and now I'm a personal trainer. And I met Yalonda as a member at the gym where I train. And sometimes you build these bonds with people along the way, and you can't help but to do it, especially at our gym, because it's like the whole foundation of it is the family atmosphere. And so Yalonda will come in every day. We would laugh and joke. And then we just got to the point where like we talked outside of the gym.
Yeah.
And once you really get to know Yalonda, the thing that you'll get to learn about her is she has a gift. And on today's newest episode, I talked about confirmation versus validation and not needing validation from people that you have a gift. You are the epitome of realizing that you have a gift and walking in it fully. I mean, I don't think I ever see you not in your gift. And it is amazing to me that in just a general conversation, we think we're just friends, like do 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 do. And when I walk away from the conversation, I'm like, oh Lord, Yalonda didn't completely.
We just talking. We're just friends.
Yalonda, you have a gift. So anyway, welcome to the podcast, Yalonda.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I don't take it lightly, and I'm honored to be on your platform.
I'm serious. I'm so happy to have you. I'm so excited. So let me pull myself together real quick. Now, let's talk about how this interview even came about.
Okay.
What we're going to be talking about today, and this conversation could go in multiple directions. And what you'll learn about Yalonda is that's what happens. Because again, she walks in this gift. You go to her to talk about one thing, and she pulls you in another direction. You'd be like, "Oh, so that is the root cause of my." Like, that wasn't what I thought. I thought I was going to talk to you about this, but now you have taken me to a whole other place of something I need to now think of. So the other day, I switched platforms for the podcast. I won't get into the technicalities of it, but you get different types of stats and data for your podcast. And when I switched over, what I realized is that I had been missing out on some numbers and some stats. And so while I said like, hey, for this to be a relatively new podcast, it's doing pretty well. But I didn't realize until I switched to a new platform, like how well it was doing. I was like, oh, this is doing very well. Like I thought it was doing well, but it's doing really good. And when I first initially started the podcast, I mean, that's what you want. You get in and you initially kind of have that fear of what if nobody listens? So that's where I started. But then I looked and I see, because to me, I'm thinking with this podcast, my family and my friends are listening. I probably have a few people in Charlotte. That was my thought. So then I'm looking at all of these stats and I'm like, Alaska, California, Texas. I mean, all of these states, Arizona, Wisconsin. I'm looking at all these places. I'm also like the UK, Canada, France.
I'm international.
I'm telling you, like, I went from like, oh my gosh to oh my gosh. Like I went through two totally different things. And the first thing I did was Yalonda.
I'm just glad you're not forgetting about me as you blow up.
But seriously, I said, oh, no, I sent you a text. Call me when you can, please. Yeah. And so then you called and I said, okay, here's where I am. And I told you, and we were getting ready to get into it. And I was like, wait, save it for the podcast. But we're going to talk about it because a lot of times some of us don't step into things because we have the fear that we will fail, right? Mm-hmm. But then there's also the other side of taking the leap, getting there, attaining a certain level of success, and also having the fear of that. You know, they say heavy is the head. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness. And you were the first person that I thought about who would be perfect to talk about this. So I'm going to hand it over to you and just let you go where it may as far as what is the root cause you think for people to have this fear of failure and then to also be able to migrate over to the fear of success?
All right. So first, to your audience, this is straight off the cuff. Jamaica did not send me any questions. She would not allow me to pre-prepare. So everything we say is coming from a place of authenticity. What's at the root of it? I'm going to say it's one root for both, and that's the unknown. See, everything that we are afraid of and everything we will achieve and accomplish lives in the unknown. We're comfortable with what we know. I know what happens if I don't do anything. I don't know what happens if I do it. So sometimes I'm afraid to get started because I'm comfortable here. I've created a place where there is no turbulence. There is no instability. But if I pursue this thing, if I pursue this dream, what if it works and what if it doesn't work? Both of those live in the unknown. But growth happens in the unknown. Change happens in the unknown. Anything that is meaningful happens in the unknown. You don't know what your baby looks like when you carry your child for 9 months. It's in the unknown. So it's always in that place of uncertainty, in that place of I haven't been there before, that the fear grows big.
You hit that on the head. It's the unknown. Like, okay, so what happens once I get here? And, you know, people sometimes will say, in not stepping into something, it's better to deal with the devil I know than the devil I don't. Yeah. You know, I know this. I'm cool with this, and I know how to function and operate, and I know the triggers, and I know what to watch out for. So I'd rather just stay here than to go and step in to something else. Yeah. So if for me, I cannot lie. Part of the thing when I called you, well, let's back up again. I called you and I was telling you the premise and why I wanted you on here. And the first thing you said was, girl, why is that making you nervous? Honey.
I might have said something like that.
You're like, this is what you're working for. This is what we want. Like, no. And then I said to you, I'm like, I can't remember everything that I said, but you were like, listen, as for me, I don't get nervous. I don't worry about failing because I don't fail. And once you got there, I was like, stop, because we're going to save this for the podcast. But I want you to talk a little bit about, what you mean behind I don't fail.
It took me a long time to grow into that being a truth for me, because there were so many things as I was developing into the woman that I show up as today that I counted as failure, right? But as I started to grow and I started to do the work to transform me into this person, what I realized is that some of the things that I deemed failures were actually the biggest lessons that helped to shape me and to mold me. And if I was to remove those instances, those incidents, those whatever we want to call them, I wouldn't be this version of who I am. So there's only two things that will happen. Failure really for me is not an option. It's not. I literally, every single day, I wake up with the intention of getting the win. My mind is set on it. My rituals are disciplined for them. Like, I'm very disciplined. I want the win. But if I don't get the win, then I'm going to get the lesson. So I don't fail. I either win or I learn. And what I learn will shape me, mold me, and uphold me to go back in and get the win. That's it.
Okay, now look. This sounds amazing.
Okay.
And I'm looking at you, and like the confidence is beaming off of you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you have not always been in this spot. Or maybe you have. So let me not speak for you. So let me rephrase it. For someone who is not in that place, for someone who is like fearing the unknown, they have the fear of failure, but then they also have like this fear of the success. What needs to happen in order to shift to this place?
Oh, you jump. To say that I've never experienced the fear and that I've always had the confidence, let's not lie to the people. We're here to help the people. We're not going to lie. I experience fear even now. I just don't live in it. And one thing I had to learn is do it scared. Do it scared. Because here's the thing. Clarity gives you confidence. Confidence gives you consistency. Consistency gives you momentum. I say it all the time, right? So once I make up my mind that I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it scared, what begins to happen is I'm no longer fearing the unknown, because now I stepped into it and now I know it. The one place that I was fearing, that one step, that next level, if I keep walking and do it scared, I will get there and I'm going to look around and I'm no longer in the unknown. So that reiterates for me the next time, do it scared. And that which is unfamiliar will now become familiar.
I'm like, okay.
Just jump. Do it scared.
Just go.
You know what? I say that, but let's break that down even more. Sometimes I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. I don't think we remember the last place that we were strong. We look at where we are right now, and we look at this certain place and this particular situation, and we feel I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I don't know enough. I can't, or I won't, or I, whatever, right? Whatever the negative thought is. But we forget the last time we felt like that, we did. You forgot who you were. But when you remember who you are, that's when the game changes. And what I tell myself when I'm facing a certain situation and I'm feeling a little inadequate, I'm feeling like, I don't know how this one is about to work out, I began to remind myself, I'm not the old version of me. The challenge is bigger. The risk is heavier and weightier because I'm stronger. So go back to when we worked in the gym together. When I first came in, you would give me the 10s and the 15s. But then there came a time you were like, put those down, pick up the 25s. And I'm like, I don't want the 25s, but you already knew you don't know your own strength.
You better break it down. See, this is why I love you, Yalonda. No, for real. So talk about, because that is the thing. You don't know your own strength, and so you keep picking up the same thing. But when you're picking up that same weight, that's not how you get stronger.
No.
You're not getting any stronger by continuing to do the same thing. You have to go heavier. You have to take it up a level in order to see the growth. Oh, look at me, girl. You better pull me on through the thing.
Up a level, and you add more reps to it. You'll be like, oh, you're not doing 10, you're going to do 15, you're going to do 25. So when you're in the middle of this trial, when you're in the middle of this place of uncertainty, and it feels like it's taking longer, it's because you are building your endurance. You are building your strength. It's okay if it takes longer. Your muscle not going to give out. It's not going to. It's going to sustain you. You just don't know it because you haven't pushed it to its limits, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, that is so good. You know, I'm all here for the gym metaphor. You know I am here for the gym metaphor, but it is so true. And I think that, well, I know part of my gift that I have is in seeing the strength in people and helping them to then see that strength for themselves. So when I come to them and they have these little bitty weights, I'm like, why do you have this tiny weight in your hand? And they're like, huh? And you're like, you are much stronger than what you think. Because a lot of times you'll see somebody that has this small weight. Now, don't get me wrong. People who are coming into the gym for the first time, if they've been deconditioned, I'm happy that you're picking up a weight because 10 pounds is heavier than 0 pounds. Correct. So we're celebrating that. But when I now see you with this weight and you are about to throw the weight up through the ceiling because it's too light for you, the very first thing I'm going to do, and you can attest to this, I'm going to call your name, Yalonda. And I might not even say anything. Yalonda. And you like, Yalonda. You already know what I'm saying. You're going to pick up another way. Not that one.
I'm going to drop it at my foot. So let's turn it. Let's snatch the edges. So why is it that when the podcast grows, when the success starts to happen, you still want to pick up a weight that you have now outgrown? Why do you still want to hold on to, I hope I can build a podcast that only my friends and family may listen to, when really we should be saying Meek Rich, and laying the heavier weight of the international calling at your foot? It's the same. That's your gift. Your gift happens on that floor. Your gift happens in producing that physical strength. My gift works very much the same. We're more alike than we are different.
I'm going to go hide real quick. Everybody just hold tight. I'm going to go slouch down real quick. Everybody just give me a second. You know what? Full transparency, because that's, the whole thing behind Looking for My Fit, to be fully transparent. It is about the lifting of the weight, right? Mm-hmm. And it is about the comfort zone. Now, I know that I'm operating within my gift at the gym. Okay. I know that. So on the last episode, when I was talking about confirmation and validation, like, I don't need the validation of the gift, right? I have the gift. I know what the gift is. So I'm cool in that. But again, it comes down to, now I'm used to being there. I've figured out so much. I've trained literally thousands of camps. And so I can, switch stuff in the middle of camp. I can read a person and know what type of pushing they need. I know if they need a softer approach. I know if they like that hardcore, call your name, put the camp on your back type thing. I've learned how to read it. I know what to do to push you to go heavier and show you that. And it really is about the unknown. Mm-hmm. And so I think what it was when I initially had the podcast out, to me, it was like, there were a few people listening. At least that's what I thought, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's doing pretty good. And then when I realized it was more, I think I was more so in like, okay, I think it was more like, okay, well, people are listening And I think it was more like, I don't I don't want to let the people down. I think I was kind of in that place because this is new and this is new growth territory for me. So again, when I go and step on that floor, I turn that mic on. That has become like my place of comfort. Like I fully have it. And now I'm here and I'm like, oh. And so I guess it felt like more responsibility, I guess.
But you are forgetting the journey. See, when you first stepped on the floor, you didn't feel like that. The first camp, it was like, I got to train camp. And then when it was a few people, it's like, okay. Then it was the first Saturday, you're like, oh, there's a whole bunch of people here. And then the first time something doesn't go right and you got to think of it on the spot, you're like, okay, I got to work this out now. And you figured it out as you went. See, you're comparing the chapter 10 on the floor, Jamaica, to maybe the chapter 5 of this particular journey. But you're forgetting that the lessons that you learned along the way are the ones that are now your floor. That became a ceiling that you stand upon, and now it's your floor. So you actually are better equipped for this work than you were when you started that other version of who you were X number of years ago.
Yalonda, you are so right. You are so you are so right. Seriously, as you were talking earlier, I was looking back and thinking to myself, where I am now as a trainer is not where I started.
No.
That's not where I started.
I remember you starting. I was there. I remember you being nervous. It was the grand opening. You was talking about how you closed your pants. You had a whole different kind of energy. And I also remember the last class that I took from you. I was like, I ain't coming back. I don't think I've been back. It was a whole different. You walked in a weightier pace, right? You were heavier. You knew what was necessary. You mad? You can go. You can leave. I mean, I'm not gonna let you shortchange yourself. So even though you may feel the weight of the new calling, you're not gonna shortchange the people. Number one, because you're not gonna shortchange yourself, right? So the people glean from your cup, essentially being full.
Yalonda, I'm so serious. I'm not blowing smoke. My heart is beating a little bit fast right now, but I'm like,
to set the Apple Watch and breathe, to do something.
I'm so serious because you are so right. Look, and I'm looking at these comments. They're like, this is why Yalonda is here. Boom. She got you. Speak. I got to say, the people say, yes, dig in. Oh, listen, y'all, Yalonda pulling me all the way together. But no, seriously, I hadn't even thought about that. I do know that I've grown and my confidence on the floor is totally different. And Yalonda, I'm so serious. As I'm sitting here listening, I forgot all about sharing that story when we first opened. When I was talking about how I was like, I refused to go up in sizes in my clothes and I was pulling them together with the clothespin, with the safety pin. That's a whole other podcast episode.
Yeah.
But I was in one space then. And I do think it is very easy to forget where you've come from, because all I'm functioning from now is where I am right now. And my confidence right now on the floor is totally different than it was before. Like my swag is totally different on that floor now.
You know why? Because you've proven it's possible. See, when you were first starting, what you found was the connection. You told the story about having to pull your clothes together with the gym clips or the pins or whatever after having your babies. You were telling that, and what you were essentially saying is, I'm right here with you. And I've been doing the work, and I know this is scary for you because it's scary for me, but we are going to get there together. You found the common identifier, right? Okay, then you kept going. And so for that first group, the original group that you grew with them and you like, yes, we got this, it's possible. So when the next group came in, all you could see wasn't where they were. You could only see and envision what was possible. It was the possibility. So it's the same thing now. Every time you have an episode, every time you have a show, one, connect to the people. Remember, I am no different than you. We all show up. We may have different stories. We may have different paths, but humanity connects us. I'm talking to my girlfriend next door. We on the porch. We on the stoop. I connect, right? And then I remember the journey and I don't let them stay there because it's possible. So you have to remember that you've conquered the path of possibility. Build upon it.
Oh, this is so good, Yalonda. I'm so serious. This is so good. And you are so right. It is like starting over, essentially. It's starting.
Sorry, you're a new baby.
It is. It is truly like, look, somebody said, oh, dang, glad I hopped up in here. I'm glad you hopped up in here too. But I just want people to see, I want people to see where I am in this place right now, right? Because you and I have talked about now. I told Yalonda this could go anywhere because me and Yalonda go on back. When Yalonda, I do want you to share some of your story because I think again that people will see you, and a lot of times you just see that the person is there, right? Yalonda is a business life coach. She is there, and they think that you just been there. And that's not the case. And so I think it's important for people to see the journey, which is what I, definitely want to share with people. Like, I want to see the journey. So Yalonda and I, when Yalonda first took her leap to, do what she's doing, and I'm going to let you share that. You and I had a meeting. We had lunch and, we had the discussion, and I'm going to be, at first, I don't want to tell people this. I'm like, again, that's that limiting belief. What if it doesn't come to pass? But I was like, Yalonda, like, I absolutely felt like I had the gift to help people to make changes. And you and I talked about that. And so in that, I was like, Yalonda, I see, me doing like this podcast thing, right? Like I see me having the impact. I see me stepping and doing like big things. But what I wanted people to see was the process behind the curtain, because I think that people will see me, especially if they know me and they train with me. My personality may seem big. Oh, Jamaica's extroverted. Jamaica talk to the people. She's always talking in front of people. She used to be, a teacher. And so, of course, this is a natural thing. And it looks like I'm just walking on confidence. But for real, I'm just doing it scared. I'm just doing it scared. And so for anybody who is sitting here, I want you to know, if you were thinking about doing something and you're like, but I can't, is what you said. I have to just jump and I have to just do it scared.
Yeah. That's and be willing to go through the process. Be willing to go through the process. So, you were saying, talk to the people about the process. But first, I want to give a caveat or a disclaimer. I had to figure out the hard way that I didn't have to figure out how. Because what trips us up so often is we feel like we have to know how. How am I going to do it? How am I going to get the people on? How am I going to get it out there? How am I going to create an intro? How am I going to make the camera work? How am I going to get a space? How am I going to promote it? How, what is my brand image? You don't need to know how. You just need to know the next thing you need to do. What gets us, so let's talk about me. So I made a decision that I wanted to be a full-time motivational speaker and a business life coach. And I wanted to leave my very plush 6-figure corporate career with bonuses and benefits and work on my own. And what I couldn't figure out was, how is this going to work? Oh my God, I don't know if my husband is about to say yes, even though he was my biggest cheerleader. I couldn't figure out how am I about to replace this type of income? How am I going to make sure I'm not compromising my children's dreams, their ability to go to college, my retirement, the freedom to be able to do ministry and to do the things that I know that I'm called to do? What if this doesn't work, and how am I going to do it? I didn't have the answers. That's what paralyzed me. I got stuck in the how. I got stuck every single time I tried to figure out all the details. I got paralyzed because I allowed myself to move from the place of creativity and possibility into the place of overwhelm. And when you are in overwhelm, you can't do it. You can't create. You can't motivate. You can't move forward. You lose momentum, and then you are stagnant. I would rather ride my bike down a hill, get a whole bunch of momentum to get up that next hill, than to get at the bottom and have to pedal my way all the way up, right?
Woo.
So whenever I find myself stuck in the how, I remind myself I don't need to know all the details. I just need to know what I need to do next. Because when I do what's next, the next instruction will unfold for me. It's going to be revealed to me. But if I try to look at it all as one big plan, if you could see it anyway, you wouldn't do it, because you'll be too afraid of the greatness that's awaiting you with your name on it. So God in his infinite wisdom isn't going to show it all to you in the first place, because he knows he can't trust you with who he has already destined you to be.
Yalonda, this is why you the GOAT. This is why you are the GOAT. Do you hear me? And I know you already know that because you walk in it. You are the GOAT. I'm looking at the comments coming in. People like paralyzed, paralysis analysis. Yeah. Look at these claps. People say, oh, that's good. Teach. Yes, Yalonda. Yalonda, that is some serious stuff right there. And you have, I got to go back to what you said. One step at a time. And I hear you, and I have done that. Look, hold on, I have to back up. Look at somebody. They said, my face matches yours right now, Jamaica. Look, if you're listening, you need to go and look at this episode on YouTube so that you can see all the expressions. I'm about to fall out my chair. I had to catch myself. I'm like, do not fall out the chair.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So let's back up.
Okay.
And talk about the podcast. If I look at the growth of the podcast, everything that I've done with this has been one step at a time. Mm-hmm. The very first episode was sitting at my kitchen table with Carlos. Yeah. And I had a cell phone, and that was it. That was it. And then when I stopped being consistent, I was like, okay, what can I do? And I was using that. I'd never had like just space, because you got a busy household and somebody's always around. So I was like, I'm going to go up to my closet, and I cleaned the closet out. And if you look on Instagram, I have what I call the Closet Chronicles. You can very clearly see that it was a closet. And then I was like, okay, well, this kind of works. What can I do? And so now what you see me sitting in is that same exact closet that I was talking in that had those shelves, but I took the shelves down and I added some paint and I put some stuff up on the wall, and I have a little table in here, and I was doing it on a cell phone before, but now I got this MacBook sitting here. I got a real microphone sitting here, but I didn't do all of that stuff at one time. I did it one step at a time. I did not have an intro. Now I have Lou on there. You may not have everything in the life. I have a whole. And then I took the step to get a photo shoot, change up the podcast cover. It has literally been one step at a time.
But let's put this down for the people. Clarity. I say it all the time. Clarity comes when you are in motion. Have you never picked up the cell phone and had the table episode, you would have never known I need something more structured. Had you never not looked for the more structure, you wouldn't have made it to the closet. Had you not taken the step, being in motion, and gotten in the closet, you wouldn't have known I need a makeover. Had you not made over the closet, you wouldn't have said to yourself, I need a brand image. It was because you were in motion that everything became clear to you. And once you have clarity, you have confidence. You say, Yalonda, you're the gold, you're this, you're that, whatever. I don't know about all of that. What I do know is that I have clarity about my calling in this world. I've done that work. It took me 9.5 months after I left my corporate career to do mindset work every single day, to dig deep and figure out, why are you walking this path? And when I got clear, because I showed up for the work every single day, when I got clear, that's when I got the confidence. That's when I got the confidence. If I would have told you when we were sitting at a lunch, hey, Jamaica, you're going to do this podcast and all you got to do is remodel your closet and then go get a photo, you would have like, whoa, wait a minute. You needed to get in motion. You needed to pedal a little bit. You needed to ride down a couple of hills and have it smooth sailing a little bit. And once you did that, everything else becomes a little more easier for you to actually accomplish, because now you're building on the last win, which was the last episode.
Girl, hold on. Let me just read the comments for a second. I feel like I need to get... Woo! And look at these. Somebody said face still matching. Come on. Wow. I needed to hear that. I need people to hear that and to take it in. And you're right. If I hadn't ever picked up the cell phone at the table, how do I then get to the closet? If I don't get to the closet, how do I get to the remodel? And you are so right. If you had told me all of that when we had lunch that day, I would have said, that's a lot. I don't understand. But you're right. Every step builds off the next step, because it is like steps. I take one step, I go to the next step. Every step that I take is built off the one before. And even though I'm only taking one at a time, I'm still rising.
That's right. When I was going through some of the most difficult life trials, and I've had a lot, I think you can pretty much name a category and I can relate in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I did not know that they were building me for this moment. That's why I say in life, I don't fail. I either win or I learn. When I had to overcome molestation, when it was health issues, when it was house foreclosures, when it was, oh my God, I don't even have an address. Where do I really live? When it was, I don't know if I buy milk today, will I be able to pay rent tomorrow? And you got a crying baby at home. When I had to go through all of those things, in the moment, I felt small. I felt broken. I felt like everything was impossible. But one day I was in LA and I'm sitting in California and I'm sitting in this room and God begins to recount for me all of the things that I had overcome. All of the obstacles and the hardships and the things that I had to break out of one by one. How I had to break out of the fear, and I had to break out of the sadness, and I had to break out of the poverty mindset, and I had to break out of the fear and the doubt and the shame. And he said to me, you have become the person that knows how to break out. You're an expert at it. Now go and teach other people how to do the same. You are the breakout expert. We build upon our circumstances. We build upon the momentum. People look at the title and they think it's just something catchy. No, it's not. It's really my whole life story wrapped up in a little expert title. So don't despise the days of small beginning. Put one foot in front of the other and keep going. Because it's in the going that you will find the growing. That's where everything changes.
Can we just take a moment of silence for a second?
We have a commercial.
Girl, I need a commercial break right now. This is when I need that sponsorship. It's the time for us to take a break for our sponsors. I need to go to sponsorship right now. Somebody said, we're not waiting on we're not waiting on God. He's waiting on our first step.
Oh, now that's good. You know what I always say? Whenever I'm stagnant, the first thing I do is I give myself permission to make a new decision. Because if you stagnate, you stop deciding. That's another podcast for another day. But then I ask myself, what was the last set of instructions that God gave me that I didn't execute? Because that's where I'm going to find another measure of clarity. I just go back, go do the thing He told you to do that you didn't do.
Listen to me. We will get stuck in that, right? So God will come and you feel it in your spirit. You know, you feel it in your spirit. You know, it's that thing that you're supposed to do. But you be like, no, Lord, I'm just going to sit still for a second. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, you get stagnant. And when you get stagnant, I was listening to, you know, I'm always listening to an audiobook. I can't remember which one I'm even listening to now, but they talked about that water being still. And when the water sits still, it gets toxic. And so, you know, you talk about the river flowing because that is where the life is. The life is in the flow. So when I'm sitting still and I'm not doing the thing that I know, I felt, you keep getting that pull, you keep getting that call, you go to bed thinking about it, you wake up thinking about it. It was a thing you were supposed to do, but you sit still and then you say, I'm stagnant. No, you're not. You're scared.
You're scared. You used a great word. You're not in flow. A few weeks ago, my son had a performance and he was singing a song from Hamilton. And to know him is to know that he was born for the arts. From as early as I can remember him walking and talking, he would sing. As a little boy, he used to come to me and say, Mommy, I'm going to Hollywood. And I'd be like, oh, okay, we're going to Hollywood. And you know how you do as parents, you keep going. But then as he started to grow, I was like, oh, there's something different about him. So I watched him on the stage the other day. He was performing this song from Hamilton. And as he sang, it looked like he was floating. And I'm not saying it because I'm a mother. I'm saying it because I was sitting in the audience and I watched him taking an auditorium full of people. This auditorium seats about 3,000 people. I see him take an auditorium full of people and bring them with him on an experience through the song. And he was floating. And when it was over and I caught him after the stage, I remember putting my hands on his cheeks and I said, don't you ever stop being in flow. When you get scared, do it. When you are doubting yourself, do it. When people are telling you that you cannot, do it. Because when you are in flow, that is when you become the essence of all God created you to be. So you can't stop. Because if you stop, you're no longer in flow. And when you're not in flow, you're like stinking water. You're just sitting. But when the river flows, that's where everyone finds the beauty and everything feels so refreshing.
Girl, that's a whole word. That's a whole word. We can pass around the collection plate right now. Everybody, if you could just, you know, go ahead and get your money out. All hearts and minds are ready.
You're funny.
We will go ahead and pass around this collection plate, y'all. No, and to reiterate, I saw the video of Jackson singing. And you remember I sent you a text. I didn't even comment on the video. Who is this singing this?
You did.
I was like, who is this? Look, somebody said, pass the plate. Passing it. Here we go. Don't ask for no change from the ushers. Put the whole bill in there. Somebody said, where is the altar? This is the time for altar call right now, Yalonda. Right now.
Oh my gosh.
No, what'd you say? I felt that from Jackson. He was in flow. I didn't even know who he was. First, I sent you a message and said, who is this grown up? When his voice get grown? But I saw the flow. You could see he was right where he was supposed to be. Yeah. He was right where he was supposed to be. Absolutely. And I think that speaks to, you will know. You know what I mean? Like when you are where you're supposed to be, there's a feeling that comes with it. You know, there's a feeling where you're like, I know. But you won't get to that feeling if you don't take the move.
Gotta take the move. I was talking to my coach because every coach needs a coach. My daddy used to say, can't nothing tow a tow truck but a tow truck. So I got a tow truck coach, right? She's awesome. And I was talking to her recently, and I said to her, I said, I feel like purpose, divine purpose, has come to a crossroad of possibility right now. And I am in alignment. Like I am in complete alignment. I told her if there was one word to describe where I am right now, it's alignment.
Woo!
When you are in alignment, you don't want to miss it. Every single morning, one of the things that I say to myself, because I got to remind myself to listen to the real me and not the little me. So every single morning, I tell the little me, this season of my life, I shall not miss. I won't miss it. You know, that's what I encourage you and the listening audience to do, and to challenge yourselves for every single day, to make a decree and to declare and to speak to those small little voices that try to minimize all that you are and all that you can do, and to remind yourself that you've missed it before, but not this time around. This season of your life, you won't miss, because you won't have to try to figure it out. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to show up perfect. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody, to anything. You owe no one anything. The only person you owe something to is you. And what you owe yourself is to show up as the most authentic version of yourself that you can be on today, so that tomorrow you can capitalize on that and show up even stronger. That's it.
Yeah, we're going to have a closing word. Look, this is when you in church, you just say, we ain't even preaching today. The choir has done what it needs to do. The sermon has been preached. Oh, come on now. Look at these comments, Yalonda. Listen, it said, first of all, the mind blown emoji. And then somebody said, that's what freedom feels like, right where you're supposed to be. Then somebody said, oh, listen to big me. Listen to big me. Then I need to shut down the little me. Get back, little me.
Yes.
Come on with it now. Where is her church? Can we pass the plate 2 times? Listen, look at these comments, y'all. This one said, benediction. Let the church say amen. Drop the Cash App. Yalonda, I'm so serious. Like, if you're watching, I need you to take in a couple things. One, Yalonda took a huge leap. And you said a lot, and it was so much we were mind blown. One, she had a 6-figure job, plus killing the game, knew what she was doing. Yalonda, I remember when you were debating, you were talking about, you knew it was time to leave, and then the next thing I know, you came back one day and in casual conversation was like, oh, I left the job. I was like, what? Like, you casually put out there, oh yeah, I left the job. So you sitting here now talking to us, blowing our minds, is a result of you taking the leap to fully walk in your purpose.
Yeah.
This conversation is not happening without you taking the leap.
Yeah.
The mind blowing is not happening without you taking the leap. The alignment that you said that you feel, Yalonda, I literally felt in my soul. There was just something I was feeling when you said that, like that alignment is something special. But the only way you got here was by taking the leap.
Yeah. But you know what? Can we go just a little deeper? Because I want to tell the truth. Because this is about transparency, right?
Listen, we here. Go.
So people lie. People tell you, oh, I quit my job and I started my own business and now I'm a business owner and blah, blah, blah. You're lying if you try to make it seem like it's easy. Because I was programmed to be an employee. My entire life, I had been programmed to do what was expected of me, to play by rules that were not even written for me. That's another podcast. And to make sure that I pleased people and made them money and then live off of the crumbs that they decided to give me. I was a good employee. So when I took the leap, which was a big step, every single day I had to show up. A friend of mine told me, he said, all right, Yalonda, if you're going to make it in entrepreneurship or being a business owner, because there's a difference. He said, if you're going to move from being self-employed to a business owner, you got one goal. Every single day, when your feet hit the floor, the only goal you have is to make it to tomorrow. And I was like, okay, every single day, I got to make it to tomorrow. There would be days that I would sit behind this holy desk and not know what in the world am I about to do today. Because now I'm moving the agenda. I am the CEO. And then there were days that things were popping. I'm like, yes, I've got clients, I've got money, I like it. And then there were days things were quiet. There were months where things were quiet. So I'm still doing the work. So I decided when I got scared, you know what, I'm going to go get a job. I could get a job. I have a very impressive resume, and there's no question for me. I can land a 6-figure job. So I go out and I make a decision like on a Wednesday. By that Monday, I got an offer. By that next Monday, I'm working. Got it. I worked for 2 weeks. It took me 2 weeks to realize I'm not her anymore. I'm no longer that version of myself. What I didn't know is just by staying in motion and by showing up every day, and that by taking the leap, that I had gained a strength that I really didn't know I had, and that I had metamorphed into this new person. That when I showed up, I was like, yeah, I don't know how to do this anymore. Oh, that's not right. That's not right. This company needs to restructure this. They need to redo this. Oh, yeah, I probably need to go back over to my own company. But I needed that experience. Once I left after 2 weeks, it was the shortest year ever in my career, everything opened for me because I no longer had a plan B. I was the plan. I'm putting it all on Yalonda. I'm betting it all on Yalonda. I'm believing in Yalonda. And every single day, I started to get new business coming. I remember my first international client. I'm like, where are you calling from? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. How did you find me? Had not even thought through. The first time I saw it on the paper, because I was calling everyone when they booked the free strategy session on my website. I saw the number and I'm like, this ain't in the US. Oh, my phone was going to be high. Because I had not thought through to the next level. But you know what? I took that call and I hung up and I said, I know how to do it now. Now I've talked to women in over 22 countries at this point.
Wow.
Between my direct work and some of my direct contract work, I have literally coached and counseled women in 22 countries. When the first time I was like, well, how am I going to make sure I connect with people internationally? I kept going. And when you keep going, the journey becomes easier because your endurance builds. You can run a little faster. You can go a little longer. And it's easier to get to decisions. So much easier to get there.
Yalonda, girl, I'm serious. This might be one of the best conversations I've had. I'm like, there's a feeling I have in my chest. It's a good feeling. It's not like I'm gonna have a heart attack. Like I'm like joy in my chest right now. Seriously, because let me tell you this. So I had this comment up here says, I want to leave my 9-to-5 so bad, but I'm scared. And so you're an inspiration, both of you. So thank you for that. So there's no but. Thank you. I want you to listen to what Yalonda said though. It wasn't like an easy thing.
No, it wasn't.
And I talked about that on another episode that was called Purpose Isn't Perfect. That's what I talked about. Because, it looks glamorous from the outside to make the jump. And again, sometimes you just see people's highlight reel. So it's like, oh, Jamaica left teaching and she's training. And I have been able to accomplish a lot of things within this, company that I'm training for. So you'll see me on the promos, you'll see me training some of the stuff on YouTube. You'll see me participating in some things, but I did not start out there. And just like you, when I made the jump and I got tired and I was exhausted, I was like, I will go back to teaching.
Because that's what I know. And I already figured out what I know, but everything we want lives where? In the unknown.
in the unknown. Yalonda, I'm so happy that I pushed through, because not to put down teaching, some people are called to be there. And when I was there, that's where I was supposed to be. So it's not like, oh my gosh, no, I was absolutely where I was supposed to be. But this reminds me, I'm serious, y'all. I want to give credit to the people that I'm saying stuff from, but I read so many books. I think this was Believe Bigger with Marshawn Evans. I think this is the book. She was talking about soil and dirt. Two different things. So at the time when I was in teaching and I was in my bag, I was in soil. I was growing. I was flourishing. I had an opportunity to come outside the classroom. I became a facilitator. I was coaching other teachers. I was providing professional developments. The soil was ripe and ready for my growth right there. But then the time came where the rain ceased, the sun went down, and it was no longer a space for me to grow. It was time for me to go somewhere else. I took the leap and came to train. And when things got tough and it got hard and I was tired and I wanted to go back, I knew where I was no longer soil. It was dirt.
Yes.
And there's a difference between soil and dirt.
Yeah.
Soil has the nutrients, it has the water, it is able to move. You can move through soil because it's got a little give there, the roots and stuff. Dirt is hard. Nothing is growing in dirt. And so what used to be soil for me is dirt. I can't grow there anymore. That's not where I'm supposed to be.
No. Oh, now let's keep going with that analogy, because I'm from the country. So when you talk about soil, it's rich, it's moist, things can grow there, but it's still dirty. You still gonna get your nails dirty. You still about to find some worms in it, right? Just because you're growing don't mean it's gonna be pretty. Just because you're being nourished in that place doesn't mean that you're not gonna have to do the work and get your nails dirty and look sometimes at your hand and feel like I am working my hands to the bone. You gotta do the work. See, transformation isn't just handed to you. Transformation is intentional. You have to make up your mind that you want to be transformed. And then you have to do the work. Nobody don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, I want my waist snatch. You got to do the work. You got to cut out some things and add in some things. Don't eat this anymore. Work out a little bit over here. And it's the same thing with your mind. Your mind is a muscle. You got to cut out that negative self-talk. You got to cut out the things that tell you can't be. You've got to cut out the people who are trying to convince you that you can't be the version of you that you feel deep down on the inside. You can feel another version of yourself calling your name, but you too scared to answer. But when you answer it and you snatch Big B and you show up, come on now.
Yalonda.
The game changes. The game changes. Every time I get scared, I tell myself, remember who you are. Because when she remembers who she is, the game changes.
Yalonda, I swear, y'all got to watch this thing on. I'm telling you, I'm like, pass the collection plate again. Pass the plate again and pass it right now. I cannot even keep up with the comments, Yalonda. The comments are literally rolling. Somebody said, I'm quitting my job tomorrow.
Look, go to my website, book a free strategy session first. Things we can avoid. We can avoid some hardships. There's a strategy to this thing.
Oh my gosh. I am telling you. Look at these comments, y'all. I almost wrote through. I told you I need a sponsor right now. Sponsors, where y'all at? Because this would be a perfect time for you to get a commercial break and we could all listen while we gather ourselves. But everybody's like, come on now. It said, walk in your light, get out of this safe zone. This is so good. They said, this is amazing. The nuggets you guys are dropping. Yalonda, I am telling you that right there, Yalonda, that's what we need to close the church. The soil is rich and that is where you can grow. But please know you still gonna get dirty.
Gonna get dirty.
Come on.
Gonna get dirty.
Come on, Yalonda.
Wet soil ain't nothing but mud. You gonna get dirty. The tears gonna pour, the sweat gonna drip. I mean, honestly, it will. My dad is a country man. He would come in the house so dirty, but my mama would say, but he cleans up well. He cleans up well, right? It's the same. You're going to get dirty, but you will clean up well. You will look at yourself as a finished product of the process. You're going to be like, I did that. I did that. That's a life of no more walls. You know, I say that I am called on this earth to help other women live life with no limits, to live life without having to run into the invisible walls that try to hold them back and try to shrink them. A life of true freedom is a life of no walls. And you find it when you're willing to embrace every part. Do I cry? Yep. Do I have a safe place to land when I cry? I do. And when I cry, do I stay there? I don't. I tell myself, you can't stay here. You can't nurture sorrow. Got to get up because there is work to be done. And somebody is waiting for you. You are somebody's solution. So if you're doubting yourself, if you're unsure, if you don't think you can, remember that there is another sister somewhere waiting for you to step into your place so that she can get into alignment and step into hers.
Yalonda, this is so good. I knew this was going to be good, Yalonda. I knew it. But I was not prepared for how much this has exceeded what I already knew was going to be great.
I wasn't prepared either because you wouldn't give me no questions.
These are the candid conversations are the best conversations.
That they are.
But Yalonda, seriously, and I'm going to find one of these every time. I'll be like, okay, go ahead and end it now. But these are so good. I feel like I'm like, just give all the things. Somebody is waiting on you to step into your calling.
Yeah.
Somebody needs you to take the leap. Yeah. Somebody needs you to take the leap. And I will say, you know, I'm still working. So like you were saying, I am still a work in progress. I have to get up and put forth the effort daily. And I have to push past insecurities and work on my mindset daily. It's a daily thing. When I do that, though, sometimes I have to look back at, you know, what I've been able to accomplish in my time since taking the leap. And I've impacted lots of people. And all I can think is like, but what if I hadn't taken the leap? Yeah. You know what I mean? I've literally watched people's lives change, you know, because I took the leap and used the gift that God gave me. So, you know, it's not about like me. We all have a gift.
We do.
We all have a gift. And so if you can
hide it. There's a scripture, and that particular scripture reminds us that we're the light of the world. And that we're not supposed to take our lamp and hide it under a basket, but we're supposed to put it on the stand that it will give light to the whole house. In other words, don't take your gift and put it under a bushel, right? So when I say I have a morning discipline, I literally have a morning discipline. And one of the things that I say is that God has given me gifts and I operate in them the way that he gave them to me, and I make no apology for it. And then I remind myself that he will increase me through them. And then I go on to say that I cannot hide my light because I am somebody's solution. And every day I will inspire, ignite, and make impact. I say it every morning, because I need to remind that little me when she starts to come up, you don't really run this show. I run this show. I'm somebody's solution, so I'm not going to hide my gift.
Yalonda. Okay. The collection plate is now going around one more time. And so if you all have anything left in your pockets, you go ahead and do that. Also, I'll put up the Cash App later. Sorry, Logan. I'll go ahead and put that Cash App later. Y'all can put your offering that way.
We just need to do it again. That's what this means.
Yalonda, my wheels are already turning. I seriously, it was so many comments. If you didn't see yours come up, it's just because I'm so blown away. And there's so many coming up. it's so many gems to take from this. Yalonda, we might have to do a series. We just might have to pick topics, tell people lay down what they got going, and let's come in here and let's create a series and talk about it, because this is so good. And what I love is that it's just a real conversation. Yalonda and I didn't talk about anything. When I talked to you that day, we stayed on the phone for like 5 minutes. And then we were like, nope, no. Don't say anything else. We're going to save it all for the podcast. So this is the real deal, y'all. This is it. Look, somebody said, yes, more. So Yalonda, we gonna have to talk afterwards. We're going to have to come on back on this thing.
Okay.
But in the meantime, Yalonda, let's talk about you, because I already saw somebody say, I'm calling Yalonda. That comment came across. They said, I am calling Yalonda. Somebody said, oh, yeah, I'm late to the party. My absolute favorite guy. Well, listen, the good news is this podcast will go live next week, and you'll be able to get it, share it, send it to people. Because I'm telling you, not only did you need to hear it, somebody else needed to hear this thing. But Yalonda, I'm going to go ahead and put up for the people watching. First of all, if you want to connect with Yalonda, y'all need to go and follow her. Yalonda goes live often. Yalonda, do you go live every day?
I try to go live every day, at least 5 days a week. I do Power Talk. Now you need to set your button to follow me, because I get on, say what I got to say, and then I'm out of there. I'm just going to tell you whatever inspiration comes, but I do try to do a Power Talk every single day to give you something to help you gain the clarity and the confidence so you can stop doubting and start doing.
Oh, I love that. Yolanda's a hold on. Let's put you up here. If y'all are following her, let's put your thing up here. You are Yalonda Haywood on every platform. And Yalonda spelled Yalonda. And then Haywood is like
Mama's Crazy. YA. So I'm at Yalonda Haywood on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then also YalandaHaywood.com, which if you connect with me on YalandaHaywood.com, for those who want a more in-depth conversation, I have a free strategy session for those who would like. Can I give them a gift?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those who would like a gift, I just finished a new work that I am going to be gifting away. So I'll give it to this audience first. It is called Get Motivated and Get Moving. And it is a guide that I'll walk you through how to get motivated so that you can get moving. If you go to my website, put your information in the contact section, I will make sure I send you that guide. It hadn't even hit the website. It won't hit the website until next week. But if you put your information in the contact section, I will send you the guide.
Oh, Yalonda, I'm excited. I'm going to put my name in there on the contact information. So if you are looking, if you're watching this, you'll see that I have the website up there, but also I'm going to put it in the show notes. So I'll have all of your stuff so you can find her. But y'all, you need to go find her on social media. You can go find her on Facebook, or you can go to her website. Yalonda, I'm blown away. I'm serious. Like, tonight was everything and more. Like, I knew it was going to be a good conversation, because the conversations we just have in general in passing are always, I never walk away from your conversation like normal. I always walk away thinking on something seriously. So even when I walked away from that 5-minute conversation that we had last week, my mindset shifted already, because I was like, yeah, she's right. And so I just am grateful for you stepping into your gift. I'm grateful that you do it unapologetically. And I'm very grateful that I know you. And I'm so grateful that you came in and blessed this community with this tonight. This wasn't even a podcast. This was a Come to Jesus revival.
We're all fit together. And again, I say it and I do mean it. Every opportunity that I have to share transformation is an opportunity that I count as a blessing. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your mic with me and for sharing your audience with me. And thank you for every person that listened. And our hope is that you will take something that I said or me, Rich said, and that you will implement it, because it's in the execution that change really happens.
You are so right. Well, Yalonda, seriously, thank you so much for everything. And I want to wrap it up, but I got to read this last comment. Said, I'm the slain old lady in the back of the church being fanned by the church nurse.
Y'all funny. Y'all some church going people, I can tell. So.
But also, before we get off, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. This was our first live podcast episode, and there could not have been a better person, Yalonda. This was. Listen, if you don't walk away from this feeling motivated, feeling ready to go and do it scared, I don't know what it's gonna take. But if you still not there, I need you to go to YalondaHaywood.com, put in your information, and get this gift. And you said it's called Get Motivated and Get Moving.
Put it in the contact, and I'm going to send you the Get Motivated, Get Moving guide. So just put your information, go to the website, click on contact, fill out the little form, and I will shoot you over the guide.
Yes. Yalonda, thank you. I don't want you to tell everybody goodbye. I just want you to say, I will talk to you all later.
All right. Well, because of our gracious host inviting you back.
The invitation is open.
It's not bye for now. It is. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Thanks for leveling up. And I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Yalonda. And listen, y'all, if you wish you had listened to this thing live, you need to get into the Looking for My Fit community. If you stay tuned, you're going to hear how you can do that. But in the meantime, as always, thank you all so much for following along. I appreciate you all. So just be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And please share this episode with somebody, because somebody needs to hear this. Okay. But until next time, we'll see you next week. Bye, guys. Y'all, I am so excited about this community, and I really hope that you'll decide to join. You can join by clicking the link in the show notes, clicking the link in my Instagram profile, or simply by going to Facebook and searching Looking for My Fit Community with Meek-Rich. Hope to see you there. Looking for my